Okay, have you walked down the pet food aisle recently? I mean, it's starting to look less like a grocery store and more like a high-end department store, right? Well, today we're going to break down the huge strategy behind this whole makeover and figure out why your dog's kibble is suddenly packaged like luxury skincare.
Seriously though, why does a bag of kibble suddenly look like it belongs in a fancy beauty boutique? Let me tell you, this is no accident. It's a really deliberate, industry-wide strategic shift, and it all kicks off with one big idea.
And the whole reason for this packaging revolution? It all comes down to a massive cultural shift in how we think about our pets. I mean, we don't just own them anymore, right? For millions and millions of us, they are full-on members of the family.
And this trend actually has a name. It's called pet humanization. You can think of it as the engine driving this entire transformation. What it means is we now expect the exact same level of quality, safety, and, even the same look and feel for our pet stuff as we do for our own. If we're looking for clean ingredients and beautiful design for ourselves, you better believe we're demanding it for them too.
And yeah, this shift has some huge financial consequences. We're talking about a global pet care market that hit almost $200 billion in 2024. And get this, it's projected to double by 2035. So when you've got that kind of money floating around, you can bet that every single detail, especially that packaging that has to grab your eye on the shelf, becomes absolutely critical.
So because of this whole pet humanization thing, packaging can't just be a box or a bag anymore. It's got to do way more than just hold the product. Now, it has 3 brand new super critical jobs to do right there on the shelf.
So these are basically the 3 new rules of the game. First up is premiumization. The package has to look and feel top-notch. Then you've got sustainability. Eco-friendly design isn't just nice, it's a legal and commercial must-have now. And third, transparency. That package has to basically scream, "You can trust me." So, let's see how brands are actually putting this stuff to work.
All right, so how does all this theory actually play out in the real world? Let's take a little walk down the pet aisle, and we'll check out how brands are using these exact strategies to grab your attention. We'll start with the stuff that's hardest to resist.
Ah yes, pet treats. This is the home of the impulse buy, right? That moment where you just want to get your best friend a little something special. And in this category, packaging can literally change what the product is inside your head.
This is a perfect example of that first rule, premiumization in action. Think about it. The very same treat, but in a standard plastic pouch, it feels like an everyday snack. But you put that exact same treat in a nice, heavy glass jar, and suddenly, it's a luxury gift item. The product itself didn't change one bit, but the packaging lets brands charge 2, even 3 times more, just because they've completely changed how you see it.
Okay, now let's switch gears. Compare that emotional impulse buy with something that's way more rational, pet supplements. For these products, cute just doesn't work. The packaging's #1 job is to signal safety, science, and clinical credibility. It needs to look less like a fun treat and a whole lot more like something you'd get from a pharmacy. And here, the type of bottle sends a very specific message. You see that amber glass? That's not just for looks. It actually protects sensitive oils from UV light, which signals real scientific care. Or maybe an airless pump. That prevents oxidation and makes sure you get a precise dose every time. Each one of these packaging choices is a deliberate signal designed to build your trust and make you believe the product actually works.
All right, let's move on to that second major force, sustainability. This one has moved so fast. It's gone from being a nice-to-have feature to an absolute, non-negotiable requirement for basically every brand on the shelf.
So it's not just a marketing gimmick anymore, it is now a baseline business requirement. Being green used to be a way for a brand to stand out from the crowd. Now, it's the bare minimum just to play the game. And if a brand's packaging isn't sustainable, they're not just turning off customers, they are staring down some very real legal and financial trouble.
And these risks are no joke. I mean, in places like California, new laws are on the books that mandate recyclable or compostable packaging. And the penalty for not complying, it's not some little slap on the wrist. We're talking up to $50,000 per day. A number like that, yeah, that gets a company's attention really, really fast. So to meet this huge challenge, brands are turning to a whole new toolkit of sustainable options. This means things like using post-consumer recycled, or PCR, plastics, creating pouches from a single material so they can actually be recycled, leaning on stuff like glass and aluminum, which can be recycled forever, and even creating these cool refillable forever bottle systems to cut out waste completely.
So when you pull all this together, the premium look, the scientific trust, the eco-mandate, it becomes really clear. Pet packaging is not just a container anymore, not even close. It's playing a much bigger, more strategic role. It's really become the ultimate brand ambassador.
Right now, in the modern pet aisle, that package on the shelf is the brand's most powerful marketing tool, hands down. It's your first impression. It's the #1 signal of trust. And it's a direct reflection of what that brand truly values, whether that's luxury or science or sustainability.
And in the end, it all circles right back to that core idea of pet humanization. The brands that are really winning out there, they're the ones who get it. They design their packaging to respect that deep love and those high standards you have for your pet. They're trying to meet you on your level, the level of care you bring to every single purchase you make for that furry member of your family.
So the next time you find yourself in the pet aisle, just take a closer look. Now that you know the secret language of all this packaging, ask yourself, what is that bottle or that bag really trying to tell you about the product, about the brand, and about how they really see your best friend?